I'm Sammy Brzozowski. He is Simon Hendricks. This is the Six Hockey. It all comes down to a series-deciding, championship-deciding game in the U16 AAA division of the GTHL between the Vaughan Kings and the Toronto Junior Canadians. It really doesn't get much better than this.
No, it certainly doesn't, Sammy. We've talked about it ad nauseum throughout this entire year. The U16 AAA division in the GTHL might just be the best that junior hockey has to offer in the entire world. I'm so jazzed I can barely speak. But either way, we have a phenomenal Game 5 ahead. Junior Canadians, they went down 0-2 and they forced a game number 5. The story writes itself. We certainly have a fantastic game ahead of us.
That's right, and we've seen the Vaughan Kings with their backs up against the wall before. In the semifinals, they defeated the Marlboros. They won 2 straight to make sure they booked their tickets to the finals. The Junior Canadians, they faced adversity in the playoffs for the first time this series. They, like you said, went down 2-0. They're here in the series deciding game. And it's worth noting, worth mentioning, the Vaughan Kings back to a full lineup. Rolston's back, Scro's back, everyone's back. So we are seeing the best players available in this one.
That is exactly right, Sam. I'm so glad you made that point. And another point I will make, if the Canadians win this game, well, I shouldn't even say if the Canadians win that game and win this game, because we don't know what's going to happen just yet. The Vaughan Kings have not lost 3 games in a row this entire season. Going back to the playoffs, the regular season, they have not lost 3 games in a row, period, point blank. This would be the first time this year if the Canadians pull this off. What a story, what a game we have underway here.
And Simon, worth mentioning, I'm going to add a little bit to a stat that you love. In a game where Brody Brown and Landon Rolston have played in the playoffs, a full game, they have not lost yet. So a stat could be changed tonight. A stat could be augmented tonight. Let's take a look at who will be guarding the back end for one final time this season for the Toronto Junior Canadians. Surprise, surprise, it's the guy who picked up the win in games 3 and 4, only allowing 1 goal in the process. Zidane JC, he's their guy for game number 5. And for the Vaughan Kings, we didn't know what it was going to be. We didn't know whether they'd go with the 1A, the 1B, or who even was the 1A or the 1B. They've decided their guy is the guy who picked up both the quarterfinal game-winning match win as well as the semifinal game winner. It is Dimitri Stokes.
I'm so excited about this goaltender matchup. We've seen this goaltender matchup once in this series, and it was that Game 3 that ended by a score of 1-0. So certainly another goaltenders duel could be in order for this one. And for the Canadians, Zidane JC has been absolutely phenomenal. Now, yes, the Canadians, they have played excellent in front of him. They have not really allowed any type of great scoring chances throughout the 2 games that he has started. But like you said, Sammy, to your point, it's the first time this series that the Vaughan Kings have been held to 1 goal across 2 games, and that doesn't happen unless your goaltender has his A stuff, and Zidane JC has certainly brought his A stuff to this series, hoping to continue that in this Game 5. Now, for the Kings, Dimitri Stokes, like you said, Sam, he was the game-winning, the goalie who won both the quarterfinal and semifinal series-clinching games for the Kings, so he does have some experience in these, high-pressure moments. And especially, he was the Game 5 winner in that semifinal series against the Marlboros, his second Game 5 do-or-die win. And in that series against the Marlboros, he posted up a phenomenal shutout. So do we take experience or the hot hand? Either way, I say either way a lot, but it certainly is either way 2 phenomenal goaltenders in this one.
Yeah, goaltending has determined a lot of the outcomes in this playoffs, in this series, and in each game. But so have the players. Let's take a look again one last time at our 6 hockey players to watch. For the Vaughan Kings, Simon, you picked Kane Cloutier.
I did pick Kane Cloutier, and you might notice a bit of a trend in this Game 5 players to watch. Kane Cloutier, I think you could say with Landon Rolston out, he has been the most effective forward of this series so far for the Vaughan Kings, and I think, if they want a chance to win this game, he is going to have to step up big time. He was phenomenal in Games 1 and even in Game 2, but you could say this for the entirety of the Vaughan Kings, not only their offense, but really all their players from an offensive standpoint, been held very quiet in Games 3 and 4. They are looking for a spark to jumpstart that offense. They are looking for someone to step up to the plate, and Kane Cloutier would have to be that guy for them in this game. He is their most effective forward. He has an unbelievable shot. He is on that first power play unit as the main scoring threat of that top power play. So Kane Cloutier, I'm expecting a big night from him. The Vaughan Kings, if they want to win, Kane Cloutier is going to have a great game. And the same can be said for our player to watch for the junior Canadians, and that would be none other than Cash Quadja. We talked about him before. He was our player to watch in that, I think, second or third game this series. But, I mean, the fact remains, he is the life force behind this junior Canadians team. Every time he's out on the ice, you have to keep an eye out on him just because of how phenomenal he is. He's a tremendous skater. He has such an elite playmaking ability, and that shot, man, he can score from anywhere on the ice if you give him time and space, which is exactly what the Kings have to do in order to contain him and this entire junior Canadians team. Both, I would say, for my money, best forwards on their team. Should be just a phenomenal matchup here in Game 5.
Yeah, and worth mentioning, and I'm sure we'll mention it later as well. We talked about it at the end of Game 4, how important special teams has been throughout this whole playoffs. We even made the declaration that special teams could be the main driver in deciding who the champion is. Do you think that's true?
I think that is true, Sammy. I mean, Game 3 was pretty disciplined. There wasn't a lot of penalties, but that game number 4, the Canadians, they won 5-1, the biggest margin of victory in this series so far. And I mean, special teams was a huge part of that. Cade O'Rourke, he had 2 power play goals. Cash Quadja, he had a power play goal. The Canadians' power play unit was just all over the Vaughan Kings, and their penalty killing was phenomenal as well in that Game 4. So special teams is going to be absolutely crucial in this game, and I'm sure both coaches have recognized that, noticed it, and are telling their players, stay disciplined. If we get an early power play opportunity, and vice versa, if you go down a man on the penalty kill early, that spells a whole lot of trouble for your team's chances in this one.
Yeah, and let's not waste any more time. I know you're anxious for this game. I'm anxious to see what the final outcome will be, and I'm sure the players, fans, parents, and coaches are as well. Let's head down to Scotia Pond. Welcome to Scotiabank Arena for Game 5 of the GTHL U16 AAA Finals. This is it. A champion will be crowned today between the Vaughan Kings and the Toronto Junior Canadians. I'm Sammy Brzezowski, once again for our final game of the season, joined alongside Simon Hendricks.
Sammy, it is so awesome to be here. That's where I use the word awesome, because this is truly an historic moment for all of these kids here. This is the biggest game of each of these players' respective hockey journeys so far, and I cannot wait for it to get started. Obviously, the Vaughan Kings, they were up 2-0 in this series. Junior Canadians, though, they fought back with their backs up against the wall to tie up this series and force a pivotal Game 5, and I cannot wait for puck drop.
Neither can I, and it's worth mentioning that today marks the return of number 35 on the Vaughan Kings, Landon Rolston. He's been out for at least the past 4 games. We presume due to an injury, but we never know. He will be out there in the first line with Fitzgerald and number 28, Landon Keefe. And here we go. It's the Toronto Junior Canadians throwing it into the Vaughan Kings zone. Taking a piece of that one, Dimitri Stokes. He gets a start in today's game alongside number 29, Zidane Jacey for the Junior Canadians. Both of them victorious in this series already. The Toronto Junior Canadians, they won Game 3 1-0. Then won Game 4 5-1. The first time this season Vaughan has been held to only 1 goal in 2 games. What do you think about that, Simon?
Oh, it's just incredible, and I think that goes to show not only the elite play of Zidane Jacey, but just the elite play of this entire Junior Canadians defensive core as well. Like you said, Sammy, first time in this entire season, regular season included, where Vaughan has been held to 1 goal across 2 games, and only the second time this year, including playoffs, where they've dropped 2 games in a row. And I think a lot of that has to do with just how well they've defended their own net, not giving away many grade A opportunities at all these past few games.
As they fired into the Vaughan Kings zone, that's Nelson throwing it around the corner. It comes back to the near side boards. Trying to get the breakout started are the Vaughan Kings. Dumped over through the neutral zone. Passed aside by the Junior Canadians as they start a breakout of their own. Going for it there is number 10, Nixon McKeag. He rims it around the board. Unable to keep it in is O'Rourke. O'Rourke forced to backtrack as he sends it over across to his D partner and the captain, Cooper Ross. Receiving it near the blue line was Kawaja, as it was Nixon McKeag and Jackson Menery running into each other, both going to hit Kawaja. Kawaja, he has been a force in this series as he handles it in the corner, being battled by a couple Kings as Menery. He gets it at the near side boards, throws it up towards Brown. Brown looking to get something started in the Junior Canadian zone, fires it around the boards. Another board battle ensues. Nelson gets that one back over to Fortin at the point. Fortin walking in, fires that one off the blocker of Zidane JC. JC hit that one to the corner, forced the Canadians to get it to the side. It's the Kings with it in the neutral zone now. Pagani, the forechecker for the Kings. Pagani throwing a big hit against the boards, but it's the Canadians once more coming up with it. Good play there by Fortin to get it through. Unable to get it deep into the zone were the Kings as O'Rourke goes back to play once more. Sends it over to number 25, Lucas Wang, not to be confused with number 77, Alston Wang, as O'Rourke attempting to go for a rush. He was stifled by Sebastian Cabral. Sent over near the Vaughan Kings bench. Coming the other way was Pagani. Sent it over Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald cutting towards the net. Fitzgerald on the backhand. Great save by JC, but Fitzgerald, he regroups it in the zone. As an arm is up here, it'll be a power play for the Vaughan Kings. Fitzgerald fires this one off the blocker of JC. The Junior Canadians get a touch, and for the first time this game, it will be a special teams event. That's a weird way to say it. Special teams event, a power play for the Vaughan Kings.
Yeah, that was a very good play by number 27, Evan Fitzgerald, to drive wide on his forehand, forcing Cantanella for the hold. He cut across Zidane JC's. Just a very, very good skating move there. And yet again, forcing, you see number 4, Cantanella, Massimo Cantanella in the box there for the Canadians. We talked about it a little bit in our Game 4 broadcast. That game was very disciplined for both these teams, especially in the first 2 periods. And already, just a couple minutes in, Vaughan Kings have a power play opportunity.
The special teams always a factor between these two matching up as it's taken in by the Vaughan Kings. They go offside. Already seeing some pushing and shoving in the corner. It was the Junior Canadians that truly won the special teams battle last game, like we mentioned, and that was a big factor. We mentioned yesterday how it would really be the X factor in this final game.
Yeah, you made that point exactly, Sammy, and the Vaughan Kings have a good opportunity to prove you right here. Interesting to see, though, the superstar Landon Rolston, one of their best forwards out there. He is with Fitzgerald and Menery. Interesting to see he's not on this top power play unit.
As Fortin carries it in. Fortin throws it towards Scrow. Scrow, shot, scores! Adrian Scrow, the captain, opens up the scoring in the finals on the power play. Vaughan takes a 1-0 lead.
And yet again, Sammy, just to your point, special teams coming prevalent into this game already. Adrian Scrow, the captain, we've talked about how dynamic he can be, not only as a defenseman, but on that top power play unit, acting more as a winger. We've seen it a lot. We even saw it in Game 5 against the Marlboros in the semifinal series, and right away opening up the scoring here in Game 5 for the Kings.
Just 34 seconds into the power play, it's the captain, Adrian Scrow, a guy who looks to be going high in the OHL priority selection draft, putting it into the back of the net, making no mistake. Great rush there by Sebastian Fortin. We've seen him use that a couple times in this series already. Of course, he scored the Game 2 winner in overtime, where he broke through 3 players and had a nice move on the backhand. But the Canadians and Zinke get a chance of their own. Zinke was unable to handle that one. He sends it over to O'Rourke at the point. O'Rourke goes D to D, back to O'Rourke. O'Rourke fires this one. Great block shot there from Vaughan. O'Rourke once more firing it through traffic. Making the save there was Stokes. As we see the Canadians, they are antsy to get to the net to try to jump on the rebound. Solving Stokes has not always been the easiest task.
And, you know, I just want to make a bit of a callback to Game 5 against the Toronto Marlboros for the Kings. Obviously referring to that semifinal series that eventually led to the Kings being in this finals. In that Game 5, the Kings won 5-0. It was a very undisciplined game for the Marlboros, and in that game, it really was the special teams unit coming into factor for the Kings that really led them to be in the series, along with the shutout from Dimitri Stokes. Last time Dimitri Stokes was in a Game 5 situation like this, he shut the door completely.
As it's the Kings once more in the Canadian zone. Elaine battling alongside Rolston. Rolston looking for the centering pass. He opts to go for the point instead. McKegg sends it across. Fitzgerald open, electing to shoot, was the Vaughan Kings, as JC made that save look easy. Knocked down by Champagne. was Rolston, as now it's the Canadians looking back the other way, but they lose this one in the neutral zone. Receiving it once more, they dump it into the zone, go for a change. Vaughan looking to get the breakout started once more. A pass through the neutral zone. Menery, he can't handle that one. It's O'Rourke with it. O'Rourke turning it over now. Menery alone scores! Jackson Menery picks up the turnover, and very quickly it's 2-0 for the Kings.
What a start for the Vaughan Kings, and just an ill-advised pass there from Cade O'Rourke in his own zone. I get what he was trying to do and sending it across to his defensive partner, but Jackson Menery using his skating ability to put himself in the exact right position to intercept that pass, and a nice little dipsy doodle pass Zidane Jaycee, and not only 5 minutes in, and we're already have a 2-goal lead.
And the Toronto Junior Canadians substituting their goalie. You just saw Zidane Jaycee coming out, and coming in is number 31, Marko Misic, as an early change after a breakaway, and then the earlier goal from Skro. What do you think about that?
That is, I think that is an awful, awful decision there from the Junior Canadians. I can't believe that they just pulled Zidane Jaycee. He's allowed 1 goal in the past 120 minutes of hockey, discounting these first 5 minutes here in this game. And 1 goal. Oh, my goodness.
Big hit.
What a hit there. My goodness. But to go back to my original point, allows 1 goal in 120 minutes, allows 2 early ones here, 1 on the power play with arguably the Kings' best player streaking down on his weak side. And then this one, an interception right in front of the goaltender. Not even 5 minutes in. I do not like that decision whatsoever here.
Neither do I, to be honest with you, Simon. I mean, we are not the coaches on the bench, but like you said, it was Zidane Jaycee who looked so strong throughout games 3 and 4. Really a big reason why they won those games. And it seems like, if anything, they're just trying to get some momentum in their players.
I wholeheartedly agree with that, Sammy. This is more of a, a wake-up call, if you will. However, think of it from Masic's perspective. You know, he comes into this game, and I'm sure they talk to the locker room and say, hey, if we need you, you're going to go. But not even 5 minutes in, and he's already getting tap on the pads. You know he's got to have a ton of butterflies in his stomach. And just the mental aspect from Masic, I think, is a bit underrated in a moment like this. I don't think that was a good decision.
Certainly allowing 2 goals, the team, very early. Like you said, it was barely within 5 minutes. And now Masic, he basically has to shut the door from here on out, because Vaughan is a goal or 2 from really running away with this game already early in this one. Worth mentioning, we saw that big hit earlier. That was Jaden Vincent, the call-up, the underager, coming in to help the Canadians in the finals. He got a taste of what U16 is all about, taking a big hit into the Vaughan Kings bench. Is walking in now is Skro as he fires that one off the blocker of Masic as it's sent behind his net. O'Rourke with it behind. O'Rourke gets leveled by Fitzgerald as the Kings, they keep it in. On the far side boards, that's Rolston. Sends it off the pad. Rebound in front. Scores! Presley Elaine picks up the 3rd goal of the game from Vaughan. They're running away with this one.
My goodness. Tough start for Marko Masic and obviously the entire Junior Canadian squad so much that you see them in front of the net talking with the officials. They thought that Fitzgerald hit on O'Rourke should have been a penalty, and I'm not going to lie, I maybe saw the numbers sticking out right beside that board area there. That may have been a hit from behind call the referees didn't make, as you see the Canadians still talking with the officials. But what a start for the Vaughan Kings, and that was just a bit of a defensive collapse. Masic didn't know where the puck was. It seemed like no one on the Junior Canadians knew exactly where the puck was, allowing for the easy tap and goal for Elaine.
Yeah, and Simon, let me ask, if you're the Junior Canadians coach here, would you have called timeout already?
I think I would have, yeah, because right now your team's, I mean, they're rattled, obviously, and, you know, a 3-goal lead, it's pretty hard to remember that, you know, in a moment like this, there's still 2.5 periods left of hockey to play. So I think a timeout here would have been very nice for the Canadians. It's all about how they respond in the next, I guess, 8 minutes or so here.
Worth mentioning, they only get 1 in-game timeout, I should say, per game. And so that's the thing. You take 1 early, you can't take 1 if they had tied it up or got it close or within reason, really. But the Vaughan Kings, they have been dominant. Their shots have been lethal. Their shot percentage is very, very high. and the Junior Canadians doing everything they can to try to get some offense going.
You know, we're pretty big basketball fans here in the office, and, you know, teams go on runs in basketball. It's a game of runs, as they say, and a lot of what you'll hear on an NBA bench or even, you know, college or high school benches is if you go down early or if you go down on a run and there's a few minutes left in the quarter, you'll hear the coach say, okay, we just need to win the next 2 or 3 minutes. That's all we need to do is just win the next 2 or 3 minutes. And obviously different sports, different facets of every game. But I think the Canadians right now, they just need to make sure that they win and play better than the Kings do for the next 2 or 3 minutes just to get any type of momentum on their side.
As they're essentially running a power play unit here, we see Kawaja on with both O'Rourke and Ross as a battle on the far side boards ensues. That's Ross at the point with it. Ross firing it through traffic. That one goes wide. Nelson rimming it around for Brown. Brown, he can't get a hold of it. Sent back over to Kawaja behind the net. Kawaja looking to get the dangle in front. Was unable to get it through McKegg. With it now Champagne. Champagne surveying his options. Rico Champagne sending it over to Ross. Ross through traffic off the leg of Kawaja, going for the rebound and unable to pick up the loose puck were the Junior Canadians. And now it's the Kings coming back the other way on a 3-on-2. That's Cloutier. Sends it across for Pagani. Great save by Masic. I don't know if he got all of that or if the pass just didn't get through.
Oh,
but a great play in transition.
You don't want to take a penalty if you are the Canadians right now. That was a late cross check to the back after Masic already covered that puck up. I think they might be a little bit fortunate. If this was any other game, I think that would have been a call right there. But either way, Canadians cannot take a penalty right now.
It is the finals. You have to assume that the referees are going to try to put their whistles away. But it does look like we will see a coincidental minor. We do see the captain, Cooper Ross, heading to the box for the Toronto Junior Canadians. Can't get a great look of who is headed off for the Kings.
I believe that's number 7, Sebastian Fortin, heading off there.
We did see Fortin go in, but it looks to be a power play now for the Toronto Junior Canadians. So one of the penalties for the Kings, a coincidental minor, and then one is a normal 2-minute penalty. We did see the head contact also employed, the signal by the ref there. So we'll have to take a look at the scoreboard. Again, we are not on location here for this game, so we'll have to wait and see, just like you guys, as that's Liam Watt sending it around the boards. It will only be a 2-minute penalty. There's no number 0, folks. Somebody's in the box, as we'll try to get to see who that is, as Kawaja is looking to get something started for his Junior Canadian squad. That's a nice move by Grima to try to get it around. Grima circling around. Grima trying to get it down low. That shot fired towards Stokes, but Stokes, he made the easy save as that one is sent up and out of play. Looks to have hit the roof as the Kings, they go for a change.
You know, we did talk about him back in this game, but Landon Rolston, I believe he's playing some pretty limited minutes. He was just on the ice for that penalty killing opportunity. He was this team's, or at least one of this team's best penalty killers all throughout this year, but wasn't on that power play unit, and we haven't really mentioned him too much, so definitely something that's bothering him to our injury theory, you could say.
That would make sense. Try not to overextend him too early, as that's Kawaja. Walks the line, sends it over to Champagne. Champagne, down low for Grima. Grima, back to Kawaja. Kawaja, shot, scores! Cash Kawaja and the Junior Canadian showing some signs of life on the power play. They get one back.
That was a huge power play opportunity and success for the Junior Canadians. Just over 6 minutes left to go in this first period here. And I believe that will result in a 5-on-5 as the two coincidentals, they're still in the box. However, that is a huge goal for JRC here. And what a shot from Cash Kawaja. He has scored 4 of their last 6 in the series.
And we did see Menery coming off, but he was on the penalty kill. I think through process of elimination, we can deduce that that was actually Kane Cloutier in the box. Really no way of confirming that, but we didn't see him on the penalty kill. We didn't see him on much, but we also had Fortin. So, again, we're not 100% sure.
Oh, no.
As we see, Rolston just knocking down a Junior Canadian.
Stokes got a face full of snow, and that attracted a lot of attention there. My goodness.
And if this is anything like the last play that we saw in front of the net that led to a kerfuffle, yeah, I used kerfuffle, there were penalties doled out. Going off quick is a Vaughan Kings player. That is Landon Rolston. He went for the cross check. I think he's just skating around trying to avoid getting a penalty on this one. We'll see what is doled out. We do see a junior Canadian heading to the box, and it'll only be one penalty on the play.
Wow. I wonder if that's like an instigating penalty there for snowing the goalie.
It very likely could be, as it looked to be Alessandro Caterin who started all of that. Yes, it is Caterin in the box, looking to give the ref a mouthful there, but nonetheless, we have a power play for the Vaughan Kings just as quick as the junior Canadians got that goal to make it only a 2-goal lead for Vaughan. They take a penalty. Not a great time for them, as it's Fortin recollecting the puck in his own zone. On with Fortin is Rolston, Scrow, Brown, and one more. We'll have to wait and see, and it is Evan Fitzgerald. As carrying it in were the Vaughan Kings, but they were offside. The Canadians with a chance to take some time, get this puck out of the zone. That's exactly what they do, as they fire it towards the net of Stokes. Going for a change now was Champagne.
And if you're the Canadians right now, you might want to hold off on getting a whistle. As you see, Kane Cloutier, he will be coming out of the box and probably joining this power play at the next one.
Fitzgerald breaks his man, fires that one onto the net of Masic. He gets the rebound. Fitzgerald, he has Fortin up top and doesn't go for the pass. And Simon, I'm going to give you a couple hints why. We see that net come off a little bit. Trying to fix it there was Masic. The ref will have to finish the job, so it'll be a face-off inside. Net coming off. You know what? It's a scary time for these Nets in the finals. In game number 5, a lot of pressure on them.
I think that's probably 11 or 12 we've seen so far this series. It's just a disaster.
It is a
Scotiabank's
disaster.
pretty bad for it too, honestly.
Yeah, usually it is this other end, the end that Dimitri Stokes is on, that we've noticed comes off more often than not. But only one so far. I'll take that as a win, as it's the Vaughan Kings taking it through the neutral zone. Dumped in there by Fortin. Fortin trying to get it through, but that's great defending from O'Rourke to keep it out. 53 seconds remaining on the power play. A bit of a mixed unit now here for Vaughan Kings as they go for kind of a 1 and 2. Carrying it in now is Vaughan. Elaine trying to get a piece of that. Scrow, he takes it. Scrow losing it at the top of the circle. Once more, the junior Canadians dumping it down the length of the ice. An effective PK so far, as we see a new forward unit come out in Brown, McClure, and one more. We have to take a look. I do believe, in fact, I'm certain that's Evan Fitzgerald, as McKegg tried to carry that one in on his lonesome, goes for the offside. The Canadians on this PK doing a much better job at restricting the zone entry.
Yes, they very much are, and their penalty killing has been pretty effective for them all throughout this series. Obviously, when you have the forward and hell, even the defensive talent of the Vaughan Kings, this dangerous power play, it's eventually going to pot one in. But for the most part, this penalty kill of the Canadians have been pretty decent at holding the Vaughan Kings to the board. It's really those fast break opportunities like we saw the first goal that have been really hurting them.
As it's Fitzgerald taking the face-off for the Vaughan Kings, he takes a moment to collect himself, and we are underway once more. That's the Canadians kicking that one back, but McClure gets a piece of it. Doesn't get it deep into the zone. Once more forced to regroup in their own end is the Vaughan Kings. That's Nelson. Nelson looking to get the breakout started. He's got McKegg. McKegg sends it back to Nelson. Nelson over to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald trying to get around O'Rourke. Penalty over for the Canadians, but it's kept in the zone by Vaughan. Good job there by Nelson to stay back to avoid the cherry-picking Caterin coming out of the box. A battle on the near side boards. That's kept in by Gianluca McClure. McClure gets that one down low for Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald battling a couple JRC men as the Canadians finally do get it out. Trying to get it through there was Ross. Ross pinching a lot more than we're used to seeing, as now we see Vaughan come back the other way. That's Fitzgerald at the top of the circle. He rims it around. No one there to receive it except for the junior Canadians, and it's coming back the other way, I do believe, is Kawaja. Kawaja firing that one in front. Stokes makes the save off the centering pass. Don't know if that one got all of the stick, but gets a pad on it just in case, as it's the Canadians keeping it at the blue. Trying to get it down low, and that net is most certainly off its pegs. That one I am going to blame on the Nets. That looked like a nudge, and it just flew across the ice.
Yeah, that did look like a little tap that just, completely went off its hinges, went off its pegs, whatever you want to call it. A good penalty kill there from the junior Canadians, and already just a few seconds after the penalty was over, they have an offensive zone face-off here. The next goal is going to be crucial in this game because you're either down 3 yet again or you're only down by 1. Great analysis there.
That is a great analysis, and I think we are the best analysts when it comes to a net. And the stick slashed out of Skro's hand, that will be Cash Kawaja heading to the box. The Canadians taking yet another penalty. Worth mentioning, that was not Kawaja on the prior rush. It was actually Anthony Perugine that went on the near side boards trying to cut towards the middle of the net. Kawaja just getting on for that face-off and now sitting in the penalty box. This is grave danger for the junior Canadians as the Vaughan Kings, they have a lot of their big boys on now. It's Rolston taking the face-off. They've got Fortin, they've got Cloutier, they've got Skro, and they have Fitzgerald. As it's Vaughan collecting it at the top. That's Cloutier with it now. Cloutier sends it across. Shot from the top of the circle. Saved by Masic. Kept in by Cloutier. Cloutier getting it across for Rolston. Rolston over to Fortin. Fortin walking the line. Fortin back to Cloutier. Cloutier fires. Scores! Kane Cloutier restores the 3-goal lead for Vaughan. And what a disaster for the junior Canadians, allowing yet another power play goal for Vaughan.
That is just so demoralizing for the Canadians. You had what I thought was quite the excellent penalty kill, and then just seconds later, you take another one. A bit of an ill-advised penalty. I don't know if, how necessary that slashing penalty was to take. And again, just a couple of seconds into that power play, Kane Cloutier, you can't give him that much space at the top of the circle, and that's what happens when you do. What a shot from Kane Cloutier, but my goodness, just a disaster of a first period here for the Canadians.
Yeah, I was just about to say, maybe the first time in this playoffs we've seen such a eventful period, especially one in the most important game. 5 goals in one period. You don't see that often, especially with teams with such good defense and such strong goalies. Now, worth mentioning, JC was pulled out at 2-0.
That's right.
Masic has now allowed 2 goals, so kind of even odds now here, and you can't really go for a double substitution. So this is Masic's game to try to salvage, but his team not really giving him the best effort in front of him.
No, certainly not. And, it's tough when 2 of those goals allowed are power play goals. One from JC, one from Masic. And, the second goal they allowed just a little bit after the first one. That was a nice hit delivered by the Kings in the corner. Sorry to step on your play-by-play there.
Anytime.
But, yeah, to your point, Sammy, 2 goals allowed in just over 8 minutes or so. Just under 8 minutes, I should say, for Masic here. And this Canadians team, they look very, very caught off guard.
As now it's Pagani coming back the other way. He fires that one onto the net of Masic. Trying to get a deflection there with Gianluca McClure. Was unable to get the stick on it. It'll be a face-off inside the Canadians' zone. But Vaughan, they have to feel good about where they are right now as the scoreboard feeling some technical difficulties here as it's completely dark. We'll have to take a look once more. You see one of the trainers there, an assistant coach, letting the referee know they'll have to wait for that scoreboard to resume working before they can collect themselves and get play underway once more. Looks to be, by the Vaughan Kings' reaction that it is now working. They can resume play. It's the Cloutier line with Brown on. You see McKegg there waiting to get that pass across over to Nelson. It's won by the Kings down low. Menery, the goal scorer, he's knocked down behind the net. No call on the play. It's kept in momentarily by Vaughan, but they're unable to stifle the line. Champagne just missed that pass from Kawaja as Kawaja dumps it in. Back there to play is Nelson. Nelson, nice spinorama move to get that across in the corner. Great job with pressure from Nelson. Brown gets this over to Cloutier. Cloutier walking in. Cloutier in the corner now. He has Menery. Menery going to help him as he's pinned against the board. Some more pushing and shoving as we see it was Menery knocked off the puck. He sends a shot there to O'Rourke. Menery, he receives it behind the net. Menery dropping it down low for Cloutier. As Cloutier, he goes for a change. Walking in now are the Canadians. That's Champagne. He doesn't really have any options. He goes for the change. The Kings trying to get the breakout started. Minute and 20 seconds left to go here in the first period as we see Vincent was there to backtrack the puck, but the refs deem that an icing. It'll be a face-off inside Vaughan's zone for really one of the first times in this period in this game.
Yeah, a couple obviously we had that one power play opportunity and a couple quick whistles that went either out of play or into the glove of Stokes. But yeah, they're totally right, Sammy, for the most part. I feel like this is only the 4th or 5th face-off in the Kings zone so far.
As it's sent around the corner here by the Kings. It's the Canadians picking up possession but losing it just as quick as they do as the Kings. They elect just to dump this one down low. Going back to try to receive that one was Arduini, as now it's the Canadians firing it back into the Vaughan Kings zone. Less than a minute remaining here in period number 1. Watt firing that around for Skro. Skro, he can't get that pass. Fitzgerald there to help. The Canadians, they get possession in front. Pops out over to Grima. Great save there by Stokes. Trying to keep it in was Cantanella. He'll be forced to backtrack. 39 seconds left. As now Cantanella sends that across. The Canadians going for a partial change. Intercepted by Skro. Skro walking in. Sends it across over to Elaine with the great move. But what a save there from Masic. Uh-oh, trouble's not over as he's knocked down. But the Canadians, they do keep it out. What a move there from the Vaughan Kings as it's sent to Stokes' net. Stokes plays that one into the corner. Cloutier's line on for the final moments of this period. They send it around the far side boards. Receiving that one is Cloutier, and Cloutier, he'll take it behind his own net. He looked to want to go for a rush, elected to send it into the corner instead. Watt, he just pins it against the board to end the period. 2 periods remaining in this one, maybe more, but the Vaughan Kings, they seem to have control.
They certainly are in control, and I think the Canadians are a little bit lucky that this period ended when it did. A much-needed kind of quote-unquote timeout here in the intermission for them, already being down 3 heading into the second period. But yet again, I mentioned this before, it is easy to remember in a game with this, gravity, and an all-important game number 5, that there are still 2 periods left of hockey to go. You play good defense like we've been showing us in both games 3 and 4, where you allow just 1 goal across those 2 games. You have a chance to win this game. I have noticed a couple things, though. Number one, and maybe most importantly, as to why this game is kind of going the way it is. As soon as Vaughan got up, I believe by 2, the Canadians really did abandon the stretch pass method, as you saw people like Ross, O'Rourke, who does do it from time to time, but even Perigin, they were the first to exit and enter the Vaughan Kings zone. There was a lot more puck carrying, whereas we've seen throughout this entire series, the Canadians, they do like to employ that stretch pass method a lot of cross-ice feeds in the neutral zone as well. They really have abandoned that strategy, being down 2 early. Interested to see if they will continue to do that or if they will revert back to what we've seen for the rest of the series.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's worth wondering about, what that conversation is like if you're the head coach of the Junior Canadians. How do you pull your team back into this game down 3 in a series-defining game?
That's exactly right, Sammy. It's a tough position for any coach to be in, but I think when you just focus on the game plan, you have to believe in yourself that anything can still happen here in this game. And if you're Marco Masic, I'm sure that first period did not go at all how you would like to. And I think the Canadians, again, we talked about it when it happened, but I do believe that was quite the mistake they made pulling JC so early.
As it is Masic that's forced to take the rest of this game as it's dumped into the Vaughan Kings zone. A battle on the near side boards. You see a couple Junior Canadians just watching that play happen. A Junior Canadian knocked down, and it looks like the Vaughan Kings will be headed to the box. A Junior Canadians power play early in the second period.
Yeah, hey, that's quite the break there for the Canadians. Already going on the power play early in this one, trying to get the lead back down to 2. And we did see their last power play opportunity did result in a great shot from Clash Quadja at the top of the zone. It resulted obviously in a goal. As you see the bench there trying to get this power play unit fired up for this face-off.
As it looks to be Braden Grima taking this face-off. He ties his man up, but unable to win it. Where the Junior Canadians dumped way back down into the zone. Forced to regroup is Kawaja and O'Rourke. Kawaja dumps it back for O'Rourke behind the net. He sends it right back to Cash as it's sent over to the near side boards. Nice toe drag there from Grima as we see a 4-on-2 starting for the Canadians. That pass over to Long just misses the stick. as O'Rourke, he can't get that one through. A chance here now for Rolston, but a great interception from Kawaja is now coming back the other way. That was Champagne trying to throw it in front. And now the Kings with a chance once more. O'Rourke battling with Rolston. Spinning away is Rolston, pinning the puck against the boards in the corner. Great play for his team to get the change. Walking in now is the Junior Canadians. Turning around. Pass over to Long. Long. He sends it to O'Rourke. O'Rourke back to Kawaja. Kawaja. O'Rourke. He sends it back to Champagne. Back to Kawaja. Back over to O'Rourke. Kawaja sends it across. And a whistle looked to be blown there, but the ref, he took it out. I don't know why he did that. As it's sent over to the corner. And the Kings, they get it out. Just 40 seconds remaining in the power play. Kawaja shakes off his man. He has it at the blue line. Walking it in through the neutral zone is Cash Kawaja. Kawaja coming towards the net, sending it in front for Vortman. Vortman can't pick up the rebound. A yard sale as we see a stick and a glove in the middle of the ice. The ref will have to quickly grab that one, as now it's the Canadians regrouping in their own end. The Canadians trying to get something started. A good PK so far here from Vaughan. Dropped back in. Walking it in now are the Canadians. That's Caterin. Caterin dropping it down low for Ross. Ross back over to the point. Walking the line now, the Canadians. And Vortman fires that one through traffic. Great save from Stokes. And how about that glove once more? It's not a Dimitri Stokes game if you don't see at least one nice snag.
Oh, exactly. And, he loves to show you what he found in the glove. It's just it's a joy to see every time he makes a good glove save like that. And he does have one of the better gloves in this GTHL division. We've said that numerous times on the show, but anything you really shoot on that glove side, he'll catch it most of the times.
And he'll let you know he caught it.
That's exactly right. And I think most of the goals, especially in that Marlborough series, if I remember correctly, almost all of the goals he did allow came on that weak blocker side. So maybe something to think about if you're the Canadians in this one.
Yeah, and not even worth mentioning that it's not weak, but weaker. Dimitri Stokes,
exactly.
A great goalie, but that glove is certainly a number one asset for him. As Cabral, he dumps that one out of the zone. We are back to 5-on-5 as it's sent down into the zone. And they call it an icing. Must have
That's a tough break.
Just ended the power play. So it'll be a face-off inside the zone of the Vaughan Kings. But Vaughan with a very strong power play. That could have been a 6 hockey turning point. As if the Canadians got it within 2, they could have had some momentum going into the latter points of the second period. But they were unable to really get anything onto the net of Stokes. That's Champagne taking the face-off for JRC. He can't win that one. It's Rolston winning it back over to Fortin. Fortin trying to get it across. Sent down low. Back over to Champagne. Champagne finding his man across. That was Roche trying to get it in. Wang. He dumps that one down low into the corner towards the net of Stokes. The Kings trying to get it out once more. Kept in at the point by the Canadians. A shot through traffic as Stokes sends that one into the corner. A battle on the far side boards. It is the Kings coming up with it. Elaine, he dumps that one down low. Good forecheck here from him. Elaine and Fitzgerald battling in the corner. The Canadians trying to get a breakout started. Popping out in the neutral zone, and Nelson, he elects to send this one in on the backhand. That's Brown battling in the corner. Going there to help is Fitzgerald. Brown trying to get it to Nelson. Nelson, great job to keep it in. Nelson fires, scores! Jackson Menery with the deflection. But how about that keep in from Liam Ryan Ellis Nelson? And the Vaughan Kings are up by 4 goals. They lead 5-1.
That is such a tough break for the Canadians. We made a point earlier about this, of the Canadians maybe trying to utilize that stretch pass a bit more effectively. Wow, is that Zidane JC going back to relieve Masic? It is
wow,
too.
you don't. I literally said you don't go for the double substitution. That's exactly what they're doing here. And I mean, when you see a double substitution,
that's not the best thing in the world. But to go back to my point I was just trying to make, we saw the Canadians, they tried that stretch ice feed. I believe it was Caterin who was standing there at center ice expecting that pass. It went awry, And when you are deep in the corner, the worst thing you can do is just throw it up into the middle of the ice, stretch pass attempt or not. And that's exactly what the Canadians did, resulting the Kings to keep possession, throw it in the zone. Great keep in there from Ryan Ellis Nelson.
Did you like that?
I did. Our player comparable for Liam Nelson, for those who don't know the context. But yeah, just a tough break for the Canadians on that one.
Yeah, and worth mentioning, you don't see the double substitution offense often, And worth mentioning, how about a 2-goal game from Jackson Menery? As it stands, he does have the game winner as well, really stepping up in a huge spot there. Good job from him to get the deflection as he receives it on the far side boards, sends it over to Brown. Brown walking in. Nice move from Brown, trying to send it across to Cloutier, but was unable to get that one through. The Canadians at the 10-point mark are certainly scrambling as they send this one down the length of the ice. That one will be called for an icing. It'll be a face-off inside JRC's zone.
You know, it's honestly games like these where I wish this championship final series could be 7 games. The fact that this game 5 has kind of gone the way it is not only speaks to the incredible team that the Vaughan Kings are, but we've seen some incredible hockey in this series. We've also seen some games like this in the series as well. It just makes me wish that we got a little bit more hockey, and we're not ending it on this one. But that's just me as a hockey fan,
This game's certainly not over, though. We've seen that the Vaughan Kings, they have lost a game where they were up by 3, never by 4 in the playoffs. But it was that Marlborough's game where they were up by 3 goals, 3-0. And then ended up losing in the final seconds over at Westwood Arena. That was game number 3 of the Marlborough series. That's where they had their backs up against the wall. Anything is possible, but like you said, it certainly is looking more and more impossible as the Vaughan Kings continue with this relentless forecheck in the corner. That's McClure battling alongside his man, and finally the whistle is blown. It'll be a face-off, most likely inside the junior Canadian zone.
Actually, Sammy, don't mean to cut you up. I actually believe we have a penalty on the play. I did see the referee's arm go up. I do see someone skating towards the penalty box of the Kings. I didn't get a good look at whose number it was.
Yeah, we saw that Vaughan Kings penalty box door open. So maybe a chance here for the junior Canadians to get something going. We talk about how a quick goal could change the motivation here for the junior Canadians. They'd be within a certain reach if they could get something started. As O'Rourke, he takes it at the blue line, gets it over to Kawaja over to Champagne, back to Kawaja. Kawaja sends it down low on the far side. He receives it back once more at the blue line, trying to get it through the front. Rebound, great save by Stokes. My goodness, what a play that was to get the puck down low towards Grima, but it was nothing doing. No, says Dimitri Stokes, jumping on that rebound. We see some more pushing and shoving, but what a play that was to get that puck down low. Great seeing eye pass there from Cash Kawaja.
Yeah, Kov Long is looking skywards right now, wondering how that puck was able to stay out of the net. My goodness, what an incredible save that was from Dimitri Stokes to keep this a 4-goal game, and wow, that was insane.
That was insane indeed, as Champagne, he wins that one back over near Grima. It's kept in there by the line. It pops over to Kov. Long once more. Long knocked off the puck just before the shot as Kawaja gets it over to O'Rourke. O'Rourke back over to the side. Walking in with it now is Champagne. Champagne back over to Kawaja. Kawaja. He has O'Rourke, elects to go for the shot instead. Great save by Stokes, sends it over to the corner. It's the Canadians that retain possession. Sent over once more for the one-timer to Kawaja. Great pass there by O'Rourke. Unable to capitalize on the rebound was the junior Canadians. We're seeing a lot of pucks thrown on net. Do you think that was said from the coach? Just try to throw things on net, wait for good things to happen?
Oh, 100%. I think on a power play like this, you saw the last junior Canadians power play, the Vaughan Kings forecheck was just so tight and so suffocating that they weren't really able to get anything to the net of Stokes, let alone a grade A scoring opportunity. So I think the mentality of this power play is make sure you win the faceoff, get to the puck first, and just keep throwing it on net.
As it's Champagne battling in the corner. Vaughan tries to get it out. That's kept in by Kawaja at the point. Kawaja walking in. Kawaja firing onto the net of Stokes through traffic, and that one is blocked and sent down the length of the ice. Some new PKers coming on here for Vaughan.
And although we did just say that, it's important that the Canadians just try to throw stuff on net and see what happens, you can't mistake that for being overly aggressive. There were about 4 bodies in the way of Kawaja there, and resulting in a hits the shin pad and goes the other way.
As Grima receives it, he sends it over to Kawaja. Kawaja walking in. Kawaja firing it to O'Rourke. O'Rourke can't capitalize on the one-timer, and the Vaughan Kings come back the other way. A 1-on-3 forming here as Vaughan is cutting towards the net. On the backhand, a nice opportunity thwarted there by Kawaja, as going for a change were some junior Canadians. We see Caterin on now for them. It's sent over behind the net. Trying to get something started are the junior Canadians. Walking in now. That was Caterin, was unable to get it through. Sent over to the far side boards. A deflection as the Vaughan Kings, they dump this one back down into the Canadian zone. Behind the net with it now. The Canadians trying to get something started. Sent down into the corner in the Vaughan Kings zone. Good forecheck there from Vortman to knock down Fortin behind the net as we see some pushing and shoving. It's jammed against the boards. The refs letting this one play. Really taking a long time, and it's the Vaughan Kings that come up with it on the near side boards, trying to get it through the neutral zone. McClure was attempting to get that one to Pagani. Ross, he pinches this one up near the boards. Caterin, he collects it. Caterin walking in. Caterin drops for Vortman. Vortman back to Caterin, scores! Alessandro Caterin restores the 3-goal deficit, 5-2, and the Canadians once more showing some signs of life from the second unit.
Yeah, that was just a fantastic effort play there, both from Alessandro Caterin and a great pass from Jace Vortman there as well. We don't talk about those two nearly as much as we should, although what we have said about them is that sometimes they look like they are the best players on the ice given the right moment, and that time, that connection, that 16-14 makes 30 connection. I don't even know what that means, but that connection was unbelievable. Great play from Caterin there.
A great play indeed, and how about Vortman to collect that pass, draw the attention to himself, as knocked down there was Zinke by Rolston. And the Canadians throwing in another top line as we see Kawaja still on. He is going to get a lot of time as he spins around his man, and Fitzgerald sends it across. The Canadians showing some energy here in the second half of the second period. This one sent up and out of play. But wow, the energy, we felt a shift here now.
We certainly have. It seems like the Canadians do have a bit more of a pep in their step with just under 6 minutes here to go in the second period. We've talked about this not so much in these playoffs, but during the regular season, we talked about how the Canadians, they did like to get the blender out with some of their line combinations here. I'm wondering how long it will be before we see a Kawaja and Grima shift together now that they're only down by 3.
Yeah, I'm imagining that top 6 has gotten real tight. Kawaja, he will be on the ice a lot, as we can imagine. He has been their number 1 guy all season long. As Ross just fans on that one, the Kings had a chance to get something going. Brown left the zone very early. It's intercepted now by the Vaughan Kings. Cutting towards the net. Great move! Oh my goodness, Kane Cloutier, he knocks down his man by the net. My goodness, highlight reel. If he popped that one, I think we could get the fake champagne out, because that was a beautiful play from him, really showing he is a 200-foot player. As a battle ensues behind the net of JC. It's hard to keep track of which Canadian goalie is in net now, as it's dumped back in by Grima. Going back to play that one is Skro. Skro fires it up the boards towards Menery. Menery, with pressure, drops it back down. As we see a whistle on the play, it looks to be that something happened behind the play. We'll see what this leads to. Some body language here from the captain and Adrian Skro, and he will be going to the penalty box for a slash. Another power play opportunity here for the junior Canadians. And wow, we could get ourselves a hockey game here as the Canadians on the power play for the second time this third time this period?
Third time this period.
Yes,
third time this period. But we do see Kawaja and O'Rourke. They were out there for a little while. They are sitting on the bench to start this power play.
Yeah, worth mentioning, yes, you're right. This second unit is out, but Kawaja, he is right in front of the door. He's going to have a few moments to collect his breath and then he'll be sent right back out if the Canadians do not capitalize, as it's Ross behind the net. Ross turning around. Some good forechecking here from Vaughan to try to keep it deep in the Canadian zone. We see Rolston hanging around the blue line, and that's Fitzgerald as the forechecker. Rolston coming in to help, as now he does have to turn around as the Canadians, they come back the other way with speed. That's Caterin. Caterin trying to get it down low. He circles it around the boards. The Canadians are the first ones there, but unable to get all of that was Cooper Ross. It's sent back into the Canadian zone, forced to regroup, and there he is, Cash Kawaja. Just seconds to breathe, and he is on this power play with 1 minute and 10 seconds left. The Canadians trying to get something started. Kawaja sends that one across the zone. No one there to receive, however, as there's a battle on the near side boards. Picking it up is Long. Kov Long. He has Champagne on one side, Kawaja and Grima on the other. Elects to go with one of them as a nice drop pass there from Long. Sending it over to Grima was Kawaja. Grima walking in. Grima surveying his options. Was trying to find Champagne. Champagne does receive it. Long back over to Grima. Grima sending it to Kawaja, who just got a piece of it.
Grima needs a change. He is looking very tired out there right now.
As Kawaja goes for the one-timer through traffic. Rebound in front. Stokes makes the save. Is unable to cover it. A battle in the corner now. Kawaja. He does have O'Rourke. Kawaja to O'Rourke. O'Rourke shot. Getting a piece of it was the Vaughan Kings defender. That one just misses wide. It's Kawaja looking for the pass for O'Rourke. O'Rourke waiting. Sends it across for Grima. Grima unable to get the one-time opportunity on the stick, and a great collision there. Kawaja laying the body on the Vaughan Kings forechecker. And wow, what a penalty kill that was from the Vaughan Kings, stifling Kawaja and the Junior Canadians after a flurry of opportunities. 3 minutes remaining in the second period. Out of the box is Adrian Scrow. It's sent around the boards once more. Some good pressure applied here from the Junior Canadians. Caterin with the wheels. He keeps that in, sends it over to Wang. Caterin on the near side boards. Caterin operating with some speed. My goodness. Sends it back over to the point. A shot on the far side boards. And collecting that one is the Vaughan Kings. They've had it in their zone for quite some time. Cantanella fires this one through traffic. Getting a piece of it with the blocker was Stokes. Unable to get it out was Nelson. McClure, he gets a piece of it and does send it to his man up top. And finally, for the Vaughan Kings, they do get the puck in the Vaughan Kings zone. A full line change there, as we saw a great move there from Cabral just to backhand it into the zone. The Elaine-Rolston combination on now for the Vaughan Kings, joined by Fitzgerald. It's sent back into the Canadian zone. 2 minutes remaining in frame number 2. This game has really sped up now here as it's sent down the length of the ice. Trying to get a piece of it was the Junior Canadians. It was not enough. They will go for the ice. It'll be a face-off inside JRC's zone.
So I'll make a bit of a quick point here. I think this line with Elaine and Rolston and even like Evan Fitzpatrick, if you want to throw him on this line too, it's a bit of a rotating tap, but it usually is Evan Fitzgerald. Evan Fitzgerald, Elaine, and Landon Rolston. This is one of the most effective forechecking lines that I have seen in this GTHL league. They are so tough to play against, and they make every single shift they're out there just miserable for the other team.
Yeah, you could say that Fitzgerald and Elaine is already a lethal combination on the forecheck. Then they have a goal scorer and a facilitator like Rolston. But Rolston is a great forechecker himself. It is a very tough combination when you have just 3 guys who just have the hunger for the puck.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And they're also very defensively responsible, too. As you see, Evan Fitzgerald and Landon Rolston, they're usually the 2 centermen for the penalty-killing units, respectively. Landon Rolston, he'll usually get that first penalty kill face-off. Evan Fitzgerald, he'll usually be right out there just after him. So very defensively responsible as well.
As the Vaughan Kings collect it in the Junior Canadian zone, trying to rim it around. Good forecheck once more as they retain possession on the near side boards only for a moment. Kept in by Watt. Watt fires it onto the net of Masich. Menery trying to get the centering pass over in front to his man as it's kept in by the point. A shot through traffic hits off a Junior Canadian's leg. Couldn't tell if that was Grima or Champagne. They were both in the way, doing a good job of plugging the shooting lanes against Vaughan. Scrow just unable to keep that one in as there's a minute remaining in frame number 2 of Game 5 of the GTHL U16 AAA Finals. That's Brown forechecking for the Vaughan Kings, kept in by Cloutier. Cloutier firing this one onto the net of Masic. Masic bobbles that first shot, but picks up the rebound. Pardon me, of JC. See, this is what I mean.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It is tough. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And honestly, I mean, it's so tough to get into the minds of these players, but I think if you're Masic, you're on the bench right there. It's so tough for both of these goalies right now, but I mean, proud of the way that both these goaltenders, especially JC, has battled in this one.
Yeah, worth mentioning, I most certainly called JC Masic earlier as well. Apologies for that. But the Junior Canadians, they stand a period away from seeing their finals championship hopes fall out of their hands. They have already come back in this series. We talked about they were down 2-0, and they crawled back to force this pivotal game number 5. So anything is possible. That intermission will most certainly help. As you have to assume, wow, I was surprised the Canadian was not kicked out of the faceoff there, as we saw an early jump from Caterin, who's really been showing off his wheels in this game. It's the Canadians walking it through the zone. Ross got that one across. Vortman has Caterin in front, elects to go for the shot. Great stick deflection there from Nelson. Just gets a piece of it to allow that shot to go wide. It's sent down back into the Canadian zone. A nice move here, but intercepted by the Vaughan Kings forechecking. That's Vortman. He gets this one across. Kawaja unable to get the outstretched pass. Now chance here for the Canadians for one last rush, but that's intercepted by the Vaughan Kings. They send it on the far side boards. A huge collision there. No call on the play, but that will do it for period number 2. Just 15 minutes stand between Vaughan Kings and a U16 AAA GTHL championship.
15 minutes between glory for one of these teams. It is a 3-goal game. I mean, we are, as Leaf fans, we are a little accustomed to see a 3-goal lead blown in the third period of a crucial game. Not to give us any Vietnam flashbacks there. However, the Vaughan Kings, they look very determined in this game. They got off to a hot start. And, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. The double substitution is quite the interesting call. That is, I think, the first time I've ever seen that, at least this season, or at least in these playoffs before. And the fact that it came in Game 5 of the championships is just unbelievable.
Yeah, you have to wonder, did they have you out there as the emergency goalie?
I was not out there as the E-bug in this situation. I wish I was. However, I don't think I qualify the skill or age gap that these players have.
I think the skill gap would really be the one that shows the most. You are much, much older than these young athletes, but much, much worse. As Menery was trying to cross the blue line there, just went offside. What do you think was said in both dressing rooms? Let's start with Vaughan. If you were the Vaughan coach, you had 15 seconds to say something. What would it have been?
15 seconds to say something, I don't think it was much. I think it was kind of like you like to say in the office, the Kobe quote of "job's not finished." I think they just say, we've been outplaying them this game. I think their biggest, bullet point would to be stay disciplined, don't take any sort of penalties. And if you are the Canadians, I think you have to. It's more about playing smart, not hard. I think at this point, obviously, you have to play hard, but I think it's a lot about making the right decisions with the puck and really kind of sticking to not necessarily your game plan, but what got you here to this point.
As now a 2-on-1 opportunity forming between Elaine and Fitzgerald. Elaine trying to get it over to Fitzgerald. Great D from the Canadians. Not great camera work from the invisible camera arm, but nonetheless kept out by the Canadians as they rush it back into the Vaughan King zone. It's sent over to the boards on the near side. Grima, he got that one up for Perigine as he fires that one. Great save by Stokes with the glove. Both Perigine and Kawaja on together. I hate when that happens, folks. The 8 and the 9 look so similar with the Junior Canadians font as we see Long, Perigine, Grima, Cash, Kawaja. And it does appear to be Vortman. We'll take a look if that is Vortman or O'Rourke. It is Vortman as Nelson, the other 14, he regains it in his own zone, trying to get it up the far side boards. He goes for the reverse hit as it's the Canadians looking to push it deeper into the zone. They keep it in for a moment, but the Vaughan Kings do a good job at getting it out. Huge collision there. That was Perigene knocking down Presley Elaine. Elaine, he gets right back up, sends himself into the zone. It's the Canadians battling on the near side boards, trying to get it through the neutral zone. Vortman unable to get that one cleanly. Elaine still forechecking on. Now walking in is Long. Long dropping that one back. Taking a look at the scoreboard, it does look really nice as a shot onto Stokes is saved as we see some more extracurriculars developing behind the net. I doubt a penalty will be called on this one. Certainly, the next power play will be massive in this one.
It certainly will, and that's exactly why the Vaughan Kings cannot allow themselves to get entangled in those sort of extracurricular activities, unless it's very blatant and you know, at some points you do need just to protect your goaltender. We saw it in the Toronto Marlborough series how basically every time a Marlborough was in front of the net of Stokes or Cochrane, they were right there trading some extracurriculars, as we like to say. Not so much in this series, but certainly in this game, that's been a prevalent story. But the Vaughan Kings up 3 with just a bit, I guess now a bit under 1 minute left to go. They can't get sucked into those types of easy-to-call penalties.
Certainly, you kind of just want time to tick on by if you're the Vaughan Kings. Already 2 minutes have passed in this one. I was never great at math as it's intercepted by the Vaughan Kings at the blue line. Walking in now is McClure. McClure all alone fires that one just over the glove hand. Getting a piece of it was JC as it's the Canadians coming back the other way. A nice effort there from McClure to keep the puck inside the zone. What a shift from him as it's sent down the length of the ice into Vaughan's zone. No icing on the play. McClure collecting it in the neutral zone. McClure cutting towards the net. McClure knocked down a whistle on the play, but no penalty doled out. It'll be an offside call against the Vaughan Kings. Simon, I'm pretty shocked that they didn't call that. I mean, I know they're putting their whistles away, but McClure looked free.
He did look free. However, I do believe that it was number 21, Jackson Menery, coming in on this near side here. He was a little bit antsy, and he was clearly offside just before McClure was taken down. So although that was certainly a penalty, the offside was clearly blown before the penalty happened.
Yeah, and the offside always takes first kind of dibs as it's thrown in by Fortin. It's passed down the near side boards. Trying to rim it around was Brown to Cloutier. Cloutier on the wraparound attempt as Brown gets it over to the point. Back to Fortin. Fortin firing that one. Just misses wide. On the near side boards, a couple Vaughans, a couple Torontos in there. It's a weird way to phrase it. As now it's sent over to the top of the circle. Jansen keeps it in, firing this one through traffic. It's collected now by the Vaughan Kings. Cloutier circling around, gets that one on net and goes for a change. Elaine, the only Vaughan forechecker right now, as Rolston Fitzgerald join him in the neutral zone. Rolston getting a piece of that one as it's Nelson regrouping in his own end. 11 minutes left to go in the third period. Rolston sending it over to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald cutting towards the middle of the Canadians' zone. Fitzgerald trying to send this one across. Elects to go for a nice move instead. A great shot, but a block there from the junior Canadians. What a beautiful play there from Fitzgerald. Little dipsy doodle had the shot opportunity, but great defending there from JRC to disallow a point-blank shot.
Yeah, and although they are down 5-2 here in this third period, you do have to commend the Canadians for still giving that full effort. That was an incredible block shot there. I believe that was from Cooper Ross laying out the body off of that fantastic move from Evan Fitzgerald. These Canadians, although the score sheet is not in their favor, you have to commend them for their effort they're still putting up in this one.
As McKeag fired that one through traffic, easy save there from JC. This game certainly not out of reach, but time is dwindling down. We see Landon Keefe, Cabral, and Gianluca McClure, that line coming on. A very strong defensive line. We've seen Keefe on the PK a lot. We've seen Cabral and McClure. He is a forechecking demon so far this game. They'll hope to keep continuing on with that as Cabral. He is unable to win the faceoff. It's the Canadians regrouping in their own zone. They send this one high and out of the zone. Nelson knocked down. No call on the play. The Canadians now with an offensive chance. Throwing it towards the net of Stokes. Unable to get a piece of it were the Canadians. Perigene, he wanted to keep that one in. Forced to regroup were the Canadians. Zinke tipping this one forward. Kept in by the Canadians at the blue. Sent back down towards the net of Stokes. Going to regroup is Vaughan. Sent right around near their bench. Just jammed on the boards. Perigine. He knocks this one back down low into the zone. He is joined by Ross. We see a couple Vaughan Kings forwards really leaking high, going for the cherry-picking long stretch pass. The Canadians were forced to stay back a little bit there as the Vaughan Kings continued to employ that strategy as the puck is sent down the length of the ice right at the 10-minute mark. It'll be a face-off inside the zone of the Vaughan Kings.
Yet again, my analysis is maybe a bit of the Captain Obvious variety, but if the Canadians want any chance in this one, they got to get one, and they have to get one very, very quickly. The Vaughan Kings, their forecheck, it's still at the top of its game. They're doing a fantastic job parking the bus and applying pressure to the Canadians, and if the Canadians want any chance to win this game and win this series, they need to go within the next couple minutes.
There's a shot on the net there. That could have been your goal right from, Braden Grima taking that shot. That was a beautiful rip from him at the top of the circle. You have to assume that the Canadians are going to elect to fire everything they can onto the net of Dimitri Stokes. It'll be Grima taking the faceoff once more. Of course, we do see this overload in effect. That's O'Rourke right at the top of the circle, and then Cooper Ross behind him. Kawaja also on for the Canadians here as it's one back over to O'Rourke, but that's tipped ahead by the captain, Skro. Skro almost playing as a midfielder on that play as he jumped up. Usually the defenseman is more towards the net as the puck is sent towards the net of the Vaughan Kings. Vaughan trying to get it out. That was Watt who was knocked down. Puck sent over to the net of Stokes as we see Skro and Kawaja tied up in front of the net. The Canadians employing a strong forecheck here as the Rolston Fitzgerald Elaine line will be sent on for the Kings.
And that's a good decision from the Kings there. A couple shifts in a row where the Canadians are applying some pressure to you, so you send out your kind of, your best forechecking line out there to try to combat that. And obviously, when you have a line out there with Grima and Cash Quadra with Chase Fortman, a very underrated forward on this team who's had a great game so far, it's a perfect line to go up against them.
As it is Grima taking the faceoff once more. He's got it on the backhand, trying to win it towards Vortman. Wins it towards Kawaja instead. Kawaja walking the line. Kawaja walking in, firing it off the body of Stokes. That's Vortman with it now. Vortman firing it through traffic himself as O'Rourke gets this one behind the net. Kawaja receiving it in the corner. He sends it across. Forechecking there with the junior Canadians. That's Vortman trying to get that one down low. Ross was trying to get the pass down low. He'll receive it at the point. Ross over across to his man at the top of the circle. Back over to Ross. Ross firing it through traffic, and that's received by Kawaja. Kawaja walking the line. Kawaja back over to Ross. Ross shot, scores! Cade O'Rourke with the deflection at the top of the circle, and this is a 2-goal game.
What a goal there. My goodness. Wow, we got a hockey game here, Sammy. Just under 9 minutes left to go, and the Canadians pull within 2. I'm a little bit on the edge of my seat here.
This is certainly a hockey game. I mean, I feel like Buck Martinez when we say that. He's a great baseball player. But this next goal is most certainly the most important goal of the U16 AAA GTHL season. Either it'll be 5-4, the Canadians within 1, or the Vaughan Kings restoring a 3-goal lead late in the third. Within striking distance, I would certainly say that the junior Canadians are, and they keep up the forecheck as it's Champagne dumping it down low into the zone. Going to play that one was Wang. Wang trying to get that one over to the top of the circle. Arduini stifling the line there alongside Caterin. Caterin, he has really turned on the Jets today. I think it's something we haven't really mentioned, but Caterin has some fantastic speed as it's sent over to Pagani. Pagani, with a chance of his own, was unable to corral the puck. He'll send it over to Cloutier behind the net. The Canadians sending it across towards the near side boards. Popped over to Caterin. Caterin trying to find his man in front, and that pass doesn't get through. It does get on net, but Stokes, he just hit that one with the pad to keep it out of danger. The Canadians back in their own zone. They go for another change. Grima back on. Vortman back on. Kawaja back on for them. As we see Cash Kawaja, he fires this one in the zone. Onto the net of Stokes. Weird bounce as Vortman ensures the coverage, ensures the offensive faceoff. But, Simon, you have to assume these three will be on for the majority of the rest of the game.
Oh, certainly so, Sammy. Certainly so. Obviously, Kawaja, he has logged a lot of minutes in this one, as well as Grima and O'Rourke. But to your point about Caterin, actually, just going back to that, he has turned up. He's turned the skating up a notch for sure. I think he's been one of the Canadians' best players in this game so far. And honestly, I can't remember the last time he's had a game as good as this one.
As it's sent down the length of the ice. Will it be enough? Yes, says the referee. Will reset as it is Vortman. Kawaja alongside O'Rourke and Ross with Grima taking the faceoff. We see Cabral out there for the Kings. Scro, is also out there. McClure out there as well. As I do believe that is Fitzgerald joining them as well. You don't see him with the combination of McClure that often.
Well, they trust Fitzgerald in almost any sort of situation. He is, I would say, as a forward, probably the guy who's going to log the most time on ice per game.
Certainly. He may not be the number one on the stat sheet, but I agree with you. He's always on the power play, always on the PK, always in a situation where he can just be that utility guy. As the Canadians unable to control the puck, forced to regroup in their own zone are the junior Canadians as they take it behind their own net, trying to get something started once more. A good interception there from Watt in the neutral zone. But it's the Canadians almost getting a rush as now Vaughan comes back the other way. Cloutier knocked off the puck. He regains it in the neutral zone right by the red line as he goes for a spinorama. He gets knocked down by the junior Canadians. What a hit laid there by Vortman, as Vortman given Cloutier the business as he knocked him down with just 6 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in the third period. The Canadians, they're looking for another quick one here. Starting with a rush, the Canadians, they dump this one onto the net of Stokes. They ensure the faceoff once more. Vaughan Kings don't like when the puck is covered with the pressure in front. We see a couple guys go in there. Knocked down was Rico Champagne. No penalties on the play. But you see the Vaughan Kings, they're loving this physicality. That was Landon Rolston giving the boards a couple taps. He likes how his team is playing. We do see Caterin still on here for the junior Canadians, Long as well. Zinke taking the faceoff.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Vaughan Kings' MO, is to play physically, especially when it comes to the front of the net of Stokes or Cochrane. They are not afraid to get involved in some of the nitty-gritty stuff in front of them. And Landon Rolston, he's one of the biggest, not even instigators, but, I mean, he's nothing but a hound dog.
Nothing but a hound dog indeed. As we have Elvis Presley, Elaine on
there you go.
on the roster. I don't even know if he was on the ice. He was not. We see him right there next to Cochrane, but I could not help myself as Long fires it onto the net. Good job to jump on the rebound from Nixon McKegg. McKegg dumps this one down low. Perigine forced to regroup for the Canadians. Vortman back on for them. Vortman laying the body once more as it's a battle in the neutral zone. Elaine on now with Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald takes it. Fitzgerald trying to put it through the legs of the ensuing Canadians defender, unable to get it through. The battle leads to a Canadians possession, but nice interception there from Elaine. Elaine over to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald circling around. Rolston on with them now. Elaine and Fitzgerald battling in the corner. It pops out towards the point. Fortin firing that one through traffic, trying to get a piece of that one was Vaughan, as we see a man down and a man tied up with a Canadians player. That is, I believe that's Fitzgerald kind of giving the business to the Canadians player there. One of them was holding on to another stick. Couldn't really tell who was who as the Canadians. They take it back into the Vaughan Kings zone. It's dumped towards the corner. 5 minutes remaining in the third period. The Canadians are running out of time. It's taken behind the net. Canadians circling around. Vortman. He finds Ross up top. Back to O'Rourke. O'Rourke with pressure. Sends it over to the near side boards. Turning around is Champagne. Champagne to Kawaja. Kawaja at a weird angle. Pops out to the rebound. Caterin couldn't get all of that one. Good defense there from the Vaughan Kings to get that second rebound, as now it's Rolston coming back the other way. Rolston looking for a change, fires it onto the net of JC. The Canadians forced to regroup in their own end. Pagani and Cabral line on now for Vaughan. As some good forechecking leads to Vaughan getting possession for a moment. You see Pagani going in there to help. A battle ensuing. Skro pinching for the Vaughan Kings to get that one down low. Wang didn't see him coming. Great play there by Skro as it's dumped down the length of the ice. Will it be enough? Yes, indeed it will. A face-off inside the Junior Canadian zone with 3:58 left to go in the third period.
This game is certainly coming down to the wire as we see that top line coming right back out on the ice with Grima, Vorman, and Quadja all out there. But this top unit for the Kings, they still remain out there. Adrian Skro at the top of the zone in the overload position, almost at, well, he just shifted over, but he was in the overloaded position. I'm sure they might be looking for a quick shot to get one deep.
As that's Perigine taking it behind the Junior Canadian zone. He sends it across into the corner. The forwards leaving early here for the Canadians as Kawaja was looking for that outstretched pass. Skro, he picks up the rebound off that deflected pass, sends it around into the corner. A pass in the neutral zone. Cabral losing that one. Just getting a piece of it was the Junior Canadians as they regroup in their own end. You see Vortman here hugging the boards, looking for that long stretch pass. It's sent over to the blue line. Vortman with it, top of the circle. Vortman firing it through traffic. Stokes makes the initial save. Rebound popping out. Katerin knocked down by his own man and long. But we've seen a couple times Katerin come streaming in for that rebound. He has been jumping on them like a dog on a bone as it's the Canadians taking it back over the blue line. Briefly knocked off the puck were the Canadians, as now it's the Kings coming back the other way. Menery, he dumps this one towards the net of JC. He'll be the lone forechecker for a moment. As you see, they're running more of a 2-3 as we see that is Brown staying high and Menery goes to replace him as Brown puts pressure on the puck. The Canadians carrying it into Vaughan's zone, coming around the net. A collision there. Nelson knocking the man off as O'Rourke, he's pressured by Brown. Right by the penalty box. Menery looking for that pass, was unable to receive that. Walking in now, the Canadians. Firing it onto the net of Stokes. Stokes with a chance to get a breather. 5-3 here late in the third period of the U16 AAA Finals. 2:26 left to go. You got to wonder if one of the teams is going to call a timeout here just to slow things down.
Well, I believe the Canadians did use their timeout already.
That's right. So the Kings, yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's a good question, Sam. It actually looks like they're taking it right now.
Oh,
now
should I coach?
I was just gonna say, yeah. I think you might.
Yeah, you have to assume Vaughan wants to slow things down. The Junior Canadians, they kind of profit off of a chaotic play here, but the Kings, they just want to keep everything cautious.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And not only does it give the coaches a bit of a chance to reset with the team, but also gives a bit of a rest to Dimitri Stokes, who's had to not necessarily make a ton of saves back-to-back, but just the mental fatigue that a game like this can take on a guy. You just want him to get nice and calm, get a nice little thing of water, talk it up with Cochran at the bench for the next few minutes to just calm him down. As
we take a look at who's going to be out here, I mean, we can assume we'll see the underager in Cade O'Rourke. He has been excellent. Likely Kawaja as well. Grima and Vortman has been getting a lot of time, but Katerin is right by the front of the bench as well. So we are right. The captain, Ross, out there filling out that lineup. Fitzgerald, Nelson, McKegg, Rolston, and Elaine for the Vaughan Kings. So both teams sticking with what they had on, as this is one of the larger face-offs. The Canadians, they need possession here. Taking the face-off is Grima for them. The refs really making sure we have a safe, fair face-off as it's sent over to the corner. Back over to the point. That's Cooper Ross. To O'Rourke. O'Rourke down low for Champagne. Champagne, I'm unable to get a piece of that one. Back over to O'Rourke. O'Rourke can't keep it in as it's sent down the length of the ice by the Vaughan Kings. As we'll have another face-off inside with 2:11 left to go. Worth mentioning now, Simon, the net is empty for the Junior Canadians. That's why we saw that long stretch pass shot opportunity there from the Vaughan Kings. The Canadians throwing everything they can Onto the net here is Grima, sends it into the corner. Behind the net now. A battle ensuing. Grima with it, trying to send it around the corner. On the backhand, the Kings trying to get it out. They are successful, but it won't be enough. O'Rourke certainly has enough speed to regain possession on that one. He sends it up on the far side boards. Walking in now are the Canadians. A nice move there to try to get through, but not enough. The Canadians, they do not keep it in.
Ooh.
Not liking that one. The Kings, they're running a little bit more quick shift mindset.
It's always interesting to see Quadja playing or lining up on these faceoffs in the neutral and offensive zones at the defensive position. I get it in the offensive zone if you want a quick shot off the power play, but it almost seems like a play that the Canadians run quite a lot. Now that there's an icing here, look out for it. Grima winning the faceoff back to Quadja, and the winger that would have been there almost sets a pick on the defenseman for him to roll into the center of the ice to take a quick shot. But again, a very interesting, set play there that we didn't see, although I thought that was great analysis.
If there's someone you want taking the shot, it is most certainly Cash Kawaja. As the Kings, they get it out. Is this their opportunity? No, but knocked down. Are the Kings rushing it in? It'll be a power play for the Kings in just the worst spot possible for the junior Canadians. I mean, you can't really discredit what they were trying to do, the junior Canadians trying to make sure that that championship icing goal was not scored, but just the worst time to take that penalty as JC forced to go back in his own net. It'll be a brief 5-on-4, and then I'm sure it'll be 5-on-5 with not much time left remaining. The big boys on here for Vaughan as it's Rolston taking the faceoff. He has Fitzgerald on one side, Cloutier on the other. Winning it back were the Canadians, jetting towards the zone. Caterin, he gets that pass through the middle of the zone. Nice move from Champagne, but he can't get it through. Kawaja, he's streaming in now for the Canadians. Picks it up at the circle. Kawaja on his backhand, circling it around now. Kawaja walking the line. Back over to O'Rourke. O'Rourke to Ross. Ross, far side shot. That was Scro deflecting it. Cloutier going for the long shot. Scores! Kane Cloutier gives Vaughan a 3-goal lead, and the Kings stand just 56.2 seconds away from a GTHL U16 AAA championship.
And with that, I think it is fairly safe to say the Vaughan Kings have pulled away in this game and in this series. What an effort, though, from the Canadians trying their absolute hardest to fight back in this game, but the Vaughan Kings forecheck and just smart decision-making the entire night was just a bit too much to handle. And we said this before, both of these teams had not lost 3 games in a row, and you felt like it was only a matter of time before the Vaughan Kings were able to get one back, and they do here in Game 5.
As we see a whistle blown on the play, the power play is over for the Canadians, for the Vaughan Kings, not taken off just yet. As what a season it has been for the Vaughan Kings. Like we mentioned earlier, they'd only lost 2 games in a row one time this season. That came in the playoffs against the Marlboros. They came back, won their Game 5 against them. The Canadians beat them 2 games in a row. They came back, and barring an absolute disaster and a miracle for the Canadians, they won that pivotal Game 5 when it mattered most. Vaughan has stood tall, and 20 seconds left to go. You can hear parents counting down. You see some phones out, and Vaughan inching towards their own goal. I said it last time. I'll say it once more. Congratulations, Vaughan. You are the kings of the GTHL. And oh, what a season it was for the Vaughan Kings. The junior Canadians just inches away from picking up a championship of their own. Remember, both of these teams do advance to the OHL Cup. The Canadians will have a chance to right their wrongs there as they're giving JC some much-needed support. The Canadians, first in the regular season, so close, just 1 game away, but Vaughan ultimately the victors in this one. What a hard-fought game. What a hard-fought series.
That's exactly right, Sammy. An incredibly hard-fought series. One team had to lose, one team had to win, and in this case, it was the Vaughan Kings prevailing here. And let's just take a look at their road to these playoffs right now. They did. In that quarterfinal matchup, it was the Kings sweeping the Red Wings in just a fantastic series where they dominated play for basically the entirety of it. And it was that semifinal series against the Marlboros. That series also did go to 5. In fact, they were down 2-1 heading into Game 4 with their backs up against the wall, and they absolutely dominated the Marlboros ever since then, forcing their way into this final series. And again, go up in the series 2-0. You quote-unquote choke your big lead in the series. And then in Game 5, the most important game of your hockey journey so far, you come out blazing 5-1. And before you know it, this game was out of hand. Congratulations to the Vaughan Kings.
And Simon, I mean, I don't want to, guess on anything. I don't want to make any wild accusations. But I think that the Toronto Marlboros were the third best team in this playoffs. We saw they did also take Vaughan to 5 games, a similar result in which Vaughan just outplayed them throughout that whole game. But, I mean, the Canadians, they walked through the playoffs. They walked through the regular season and just weren't able to get it done. But how impressive is it to go into Game 3 knowing you are basically a 1-goal difference away from the season being over and getting all the way to Game 5?
Well, it's so, I guess, fortuitous for the Canadians that they had, I shouldn't say an easier road, but at least a road that was not as, they didn't play as many games, if you could say that, right? They weren't, I guess, as battle-tested as the Kings were in that incredibly emotional series against the Toronto Marlboros. That major series, they did go down 0-1, but then they won 3 straight and kind of rolled over the majors in that semifinal series. And then when their backs were up against the wall, down 0-2, incredibly impressive for them to find the mental fortitude and just the guts that it took to come back in the series and force a Game 5. But I think the Vaughan Kings, they were in a Game 5 situation before, and they knew what it was like as the team with their backs up against the wall, whereas the Canadians, I think they just ran out of gas here in this one. And unfortunately for them, it is the Vaughan Kings prevailing.
And Simon, I'm going to put you on the spot here. We will discuss this further in the booth. Don't you worry, folks, about that. But I want you to give me your 3 best players or goaltenders on each team. Let's start with the Toronto Junior Canadians.
Oh, Sammy, that is such a good question. And I think the first star of the Canadian series, you can even say their season.
I was going to say, do their season.
Has to be Cash Quaja. He is just a phenomenal player, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in the OHL Cup when it's a lot of really great teams from across Ontario and everything like that. And I think the second star of the season for them has to be the underager, the man from Round Rock, Texas, as we say on every broadcast, Cade O'Rourke, the underager, seeking exceptional status at the moment. We'll wish him luck in that endeavor. But Cade O'Rourke, I think you can make an argument as an underager being a top 3 defenseman in the GTHL U16 AAA division this year is something to behold. And again, I know this might sound generic, but I have to go with the big 3. Braden Grima, every time he's on the ice, he is just the perfect Robin to the Batman of Quaja, even though they're both kind of Batman in a way.
The Batman.
It's a Batman sort of thing. So that big 3 really did carry them this year. I shouldn't say carry them, but they were the best players on the team, and they certainly showed in this series throughout the entire playoffs why that is the case. And for the Vaughan Kings, I'm going to go first star. It has to be the captain, Adrian Skro, I think. And that might not reflect what the stat sheet might say by any means. However, I do think, his leadership ability and his just willingness to do whatever it takes to win games earns him the quote-unquote first star of the season, I guess. Kane Cloutier is another player who I think we have to highlight. He was just unbelievable this entire series. When Landon Rolston goes down, he stepped up to the plate, scored the game-winning goal in that first game of the season, I believe, and, just was a phenomenal player this entire series. And even though he did not play much at all in this series, aside from this Game 5, you see him there at number 35, Landon Rolston, the best player for this Vaughan Kings team throughout the whole year. He's projected to go pretty high in the OHL priority selection. And yet again, he has just been an unbelievable player. So happy we got to see him play in this series.
Absolutely, and this must feel so sweet for him to be on the ice with his fellas. I mean, he had an exceptional game himself. He picked up a couple assists in this one. He picked up the assist on the Presley Allain goal as well as the game-winning Kane Cloutier goal. And we'll let the folks watch the last couple seconds, last minute or so of the Vaughan Kings celebration. We'll let them soak it in. We'll talk about this game and the season more in the booth. Congratulations once again to the Vaughan Kings. They are your GTHL U16 AAA champions. What a game that was from them. Their offense firing on all cylinders from the get-go. For a brief moment, it looked like the Toronto Junior Canadiens had a chance to claw their way back, but Vaughan, they shut the door, winning this one with a final score of 6-3, empty net goal from the man himself, Kane Cloutier.
That's exactly right, Sammy. And it was Kane Cloutier who was the life force in this game. And for the Junior Canadiens, it just wasn't enough. You had two grueling games. A Game 3 victory that was 1-0, oh so tight, and then that Game 4 victory where they exploded their offense in a 5-1 victory. And like we said, Game 4, it was just the other day. It was just yesterday, actually, one evening separating these two games. And maybe the physicality wasn't there. And I think, honestly, Sammy, I really do think that the Game 5 experience that the Vaughan Kings had against the Marlboros when that series went to 5 games did play quite the factor in this one. As you saw, the Canadiens, they just didn't have that extra firepower, especially to start this game. The Vaughan Kings held to 1 goal across games 3 and 4, and right away you could see a bit of a change in just the way they were skating and their mentality. They were so determined to get off to a great start, and I think that is why they won this game.
Certainly. I mean, it really was Vaughan from the gates. Just exceptional brand of hockey. They took an early 3-0 lead. We've seen that a couple times in this playoffs. We've seen it go back against them. Do you think that was in the back of their minds? You know, we saw them go up 3-0 in game number 3 of the Toronto Marlboros series. They ultimately lost that game 4-3 with a last-second goal against. Do you think that was in their minds? Do you think they were thinking, this is great, but the job isn't nearly finished?
Oh, yeah, I think that's definitely the mindset of, you have a 3-goal lead in the first period at that. A great start, but, you always have to think, well, there's still 2 periods left to play, and in a team you're facing like the Junior Canadiens who have players like Cash Quadra, Braden Green, Mariko Champagne. I could go on and on and on about the forward group of the Canadiens, but, they stuck to their guns and said, the game's not done. We have a job to do, and we have a job to finish, and they certainly did that in just full effectiveness, and just a fantastic game from the Vaughan Kings. And again, like the Canadiens, they tried their absolute hardest. I think after that 3rd goal, they really turned up the intensity a bit. You could see it in the way they played, but it just wasn't enough to overcome just a stellar Vaughan Kings team.
Yeah, we saw it was the offense and the special teams, like we mentioned, that were a determining factor in this game. We have 3 guys as well who were, like we always say, the life forces of their team. Let's take a look for the final time at our 6 Hockey 3 stars of the game.
That's right, Sammy. For this game number 5, we have a clean sweep for the Kings, and our 3rd star of the game, it is the returning Landon Rolston. Now, I just want to point out something. That line of Evan Fitzgerald, Landon Rolston, and Presley Allain legitimately looked miserable to play against. They were in every single corner, every facet of the game. They just seemed like they were outworking the Canadiens. the entire time that they were on the ice. And that resulted in a few nice goals, but Landon Ralston returning for this Game 5, hadn't played a single game in this series beforehand. He had an immediate impact, and that's just what star players do. Coming back into the lineup, you're a bit cold. You maybe the confidence isn't fully there if it was due to an injury. And what does he do? He just is incredible. He's an incredible player, and he just makes himself so miserable to play against, and he's rewarded with 2 assists and is rewarded with the 6 hockey third star of the game. If that matters at all to him, I'm sure it does. Second star of the game has to go to Jackson Menery. What a game he's had. We don't really talk about him too much in our pre and post game shows, but my goodness, he's just an effective, quote unquote, bottom 6 kind of in the rotation type of forward who can just really do anything. And yet again, just a fantastic gift from him. Has 2 goals in the biggest game of the season. Of really all of these guys' hockey career so far, this was the biggest game of their lives, and he put up quite the performance in 2 goals. And we have to just give love to the captain, Adrian Skro, who had a goal and an assist in this one as well. But our first star of the game, our player to watch for the series and for this game, first star of the game goes to Kane Cloutier. 2 goals in this one, including the game winner and that empty netter to fully put a stamp on this one. Just a phenomenal player. We've said so much about Kane Cloutier over the season. We don't have to spend too much time on him, but yet again, Kane Cloutier, my word, just Kane Cloutier, end of sentence.
Yeah, he's exceptional. We talked about him being likened to Jack Hughes. We see some shades, and we're going back a little bit here, of Rick Nash as well, because Cloutier,
right.
He's tall, he's big, and he's just so powerful in driving towards the net, and that's where he makes a lot of his plays. And then how about the last goal being so fitting, a defensive stop by Adrian Skro, a pass over to Kane Cloutier, and Cloutier potting in the last goal of the U16 AAA GTHL season to confirm the championship for the Vaughan Kings. What a series it was. Both these teams, they are eligible for the OHL Cup, so they both have a chance to earn themselves some additional hardware.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Both of these teams, it would be a shame if neither of these teams played any more hockey this year, and luckily for us, we will get a chance to see them in the OHL Cup. Best of luck to both of these teams, but as it pertains to the GTHL championships, it is the Vaughan Kings, and once again, congratulations to all of them.
So, Simon, one final question here. We'll both answer it, but I'm going to put you in the hot seat first. Imagine there's only GTHL players, because that's the league that we cover, the GTHL. You have the number 1 pick of the OHL priority selection draft. Let's assume Kate O'Rourke gets exceptional status. Every player on the board, who are you picking with 1-1?
That is such a tough question to ask, Sammy. And obviously, if Kate O'Rourke gets granted exceptional status, there is a pretty, it's almost assured that he would go in the 1-1 slot. However, I'm going to go with Adrian Skro. Not only is he the captain that led the Vaughan Kings to the GTHL championship, but I just think the way he plays is so phenomenal. He is physical. He can move the puck from his own zone, and like we've said it probably 1,000 times, the fact that he's able to jump up and be the team's best defenseman to a winger on the power play who sets up his teammates on the power play, on the top power play unit, like how can you not just fall in love with a player like that? I think given the right development, he could have just an incredible hockey career moving forward. So yeah, Adrian Skro is my pick, but what about you, Sammy? Who would you take?
It's tough. I'm assuming I can't take Skro.
Yeah, no, you can't take
Okay.
Skro.
That's fine. He was definitely one of my top options, but it's nice to have another option gone because there is a lot of good talent in this GTHL player pool. It's hard not to go with Kate O'Rourke if he gets exceptional status. Another year of development, right, that he has in his pocket. He is an exceptional defender, especially in transition, great at blocking passing lanes. And like I said before, that's not even remotely close to the best part of his game. He has such an offensive mindset. He has maybe one of the best shots this league has to offer, if not the best shot. Great on the one-timer, a great power play guy, a guy that I would be genuinely fearful to play against. I'm going to go with his teammate. I'm going to go with Cash Kawaja. I love Cash Kawaja's game. I think he is so creative, so quick. He has an insanely accurate shot, but he also has a very, very hard shot as well. We saw a couple goals this series where he was weight on the back foot, like leaning back one-timer from the furthest spot on the point you could possibly get, and he'd hammer it home. He is one of the greatest offensive players I have seen come out of U16 at AAA, and I think he is going to be a major player for whatever team gets him.
Oh yeah, I mean it's pretty hard to debate. He is touted to go very high in the OHL priority selection, as are many of his teammates and fellow GTHL now alumni. But yeah, fantastic pick. There's not really a wrong pick when you're picking Cash Quadja.
That's the thing. And now, Simon, I'm actually going to spring this on you. I said one more question. We have this kind of planned out when we do these. I'm going to put you on the spot. Earlier on the broadcast, we picked our 3 favorite players from the series on both teams. They were pretty obvious picks. Now I'm going to ask you, throughout this whole season, I want you to pick your 3 favorite players. Maybe not the 3 best, but your 3 favorite players, 3 guys that you think could do very well in the future of their hockey careers.
That is a great question, Sammy. Okay, I won't pick Skrull because I just picked him. I will take your pick. I will take Cash Quadja. Cash Quadja, every time he plays, he's like a human highlight reel, for gosh sake. He is just phenomenally talented. It's Cash Quadja, again, in no particular order, Cash Quadja would be on there. You know what? I'll go with my boy Konstantinos Huseas, the Majors defenseman. Mm-hmm. Honestly, he really does remind me of maybe not of the echelon, but similar build, similar play style. It's like a Victor Hedman kind of guy. He moves the puck so incredibly well, and for as big as he is, he plays the game so well. He was one of my favorite defensemen to watch in this entire league, and I think for my 3rd pick, you have to go with the man who basically carried the Senators, Arjun Nanenbai. My goodness, what a player he is. He's just so crafty offensively. And you want to talk about Cash Quadja's shot, I think the only person who has a better wrist shot, maybe not a slap shot or one-timer, but maybe the only player who's able to the shot off like a skating or rush attempt that's better than Cash Quadja is Arjun Nanenbai. So those would be my 3 favorite players of the season.
Not a bad pick at all. Arjun Nanenbai, a shame that we didn't get to see him take that next step in the playoffs because he is incredible in his own liking. All season long, it has been a conversation of first overall from the GTHL. Guys like Nanenbai have always come up, same with Quadja as well. I can't wait for the OHL priority selection draft. For me, because I'm going to do it too, this is fun. I'm going to go ahead and pick.
You can pick my players, just because, you don't have to, but you could. I'll give you the option.
I think I will go ahead and take Arjun Nanenbai, just because he was such, he's one of the most incredible, gifted players I've seen, again, in U16 AAA. His hands, I think, are the best in the league.
Oh, it's unreal.
It's insane the way he moves the puck on a string, game in and game out. I'm going to go to the Don Mills Flyers. I'm going to go Declan McNally. Is that his name?
Yeah, Declan McNally.
I'm going to go over to the Don Mills Flyers. I'm going to pick Declan McNally. So the Don Mills Flyers, they didn't do too well this year. They didn't. But he is one of the most gifted defensemen in this league, I believe. I think he's a guy that will go far. He's already big for his age. And he was an offensive demon. Him, along with Gavin Goddick, I almost want to pick them as a duo, but I'm just going to throw it as an honorable mention, were phenomenal. A lot of their offense, especially early on in the season, came from McNally. Mm-hmm. It was unbelievable how well he moved the puck in the offensive zone while being an outstanding defenseman. So he is a guy that I think we should keep our eye on. And third
one's always the toughest.
Third is certainly the toughest. Third one's always tough.
It's the toughest.
It is certainly tough. Oh, actually, you know what? This is an easy decision. I'm going to go with a guy that when I first watched him, I thought he would be in the conversation of top 5 pick. I'm going to go with Landon Rolston. We didn't get to see him in the finals, but Landon Rolston is outstanding. He is so quick. He's got great hands, a great shot, a nose for goal scoring. He plays defense so well. He was a part of that Fitzgerald-Elaine line often in the playoffs. And like you said earlier, just so annoying to play against. He's one of those guys that you would assume is sitting in the slot waiting for the puck, waiting to get creative with it. But he's often one of the first guys in. He's often one of the first guys to the puck. He battles so hard each shift, and I think he is just a perfect combination of talent and hard work. It's a shame we didn't get to see it for 4 games.
It is, and just speaking to that two-way ability, if there's ever a penalty-killing situation, he is always that top number 1 face-off guy on the PK, which I think just goes to show how incredible he is two-way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really does. And we saw it throughout the season, throughout the playoffs as well. He was just indefensible. Like you couldn't guard him basically. He was him with Cloutier. I've said it a bunch of times. I'll say it again. Best 1-2 punch in the league. Like Cloutier again, maybe a 1-1 for a lot of people, and I would totally accept that.
Yeah,
he was insane, and they were just so dominant together in the quarterfinals. Rolston, Cloutier, and then Pagani were incredible. They really knew they were going to roll through that series. And now, Simon, for the last question.
Last question.
I keep thinking of ones as we've been going on throughout the day, but this is the actual last question. Who is your sleeper pick? A guy you think didn't get the love that he deserved in this GTHL? You can say playoffs. You don't have to do the playoffs. You can pick from any pool of players. Who is a guy that you think, if a team drafts him, will be the right decision?
That is a fantastic question, Sammy. So I had the first name that jumped into my head. I almost don't want to pick because I think he's still going to go in the first round of the OHL priority selection. However, because I wouldn't put him in the same category as a Kane, Cloutier, Cash, Quadja, I'm going to go back to the Domino's Flyers and go with number 18, Brady Nash.
Okay.
He is so fast, a little bit undersized for his age, but still his puck handling abilities. I feel like there were multiple times, even in that playoff series against the Majors, where he started to play in his own zone and either scored or assisted in the offensive zone. His creativity and skating ability is, I think, miles better than most players in this GTHL league. And I think if he's able to grow a little bit and maybe work on some of the other facets of the game, I think he will take that next step and become a very, very good player. What about you?
I'm stuck between two. Can I talk both of them?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I first thought of this question, my mind instantly went to Cooper Ross.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
Not a flashy player, a captain of the team that went to the finals, captain of the best team in the regular season. And for, the amateur watching, if you took a look at the non-existent, box scores, you wouldn't be like, oh, he's a standout, but he's just so strong defensively. He makes the smart play. And sometimes that's something that can't be taught. That level of hockey IQ doesn't come very easily. And he's a guy that I think can be such a good asset for any team. And if his offense explodes in ways that we saw it throughout this season, he will be a danger to play against while having that solid back end to have as well, a dual threat, if you will. Mm-hmm. But also, I do want to give some love to one of your guys that you picked for the Canadians, Braden Grima. Braden Grima won them that quarterfinals. He sometimes gets overlooked by us, a little bit in the conversations of Cash Kawaja and Cade O'Rourke. But Braden Grima was a top player in this GTHL season all season long. He is an exceptional offensive threat. He has a great shot. He has great vision. He does. No, he really does. And he skates so well. He might be one of the fastest players in the GTHL. Oh, easily one of the fastest. Also, sorry, this is totally not related, but how about Alessandro Katarin? Oh my, being like random, like we know he's fast.
He had I want to say we watched a lot of Junior Canadians games this year. Mm-hmm. In the semifinal series, he had a 2-goal game, and I believe it was game 3 against the Majors where he scored 2 goals and got an assist. I sincerely believe that game number 5 in the finals was the best game I've ever seen from Alessandro Katarin.
I will say, I think that is the fastest I've seen a player skate this season.
Oh, he was
throughout the whole game.
Place.
Throughout the whole game, he was exceptional. So quick, something that we kind of missed. We only see so many regular season games. We only see so many playoff games. Something that we didn't really notice until late stages in the playoffs. And in game number 5, he really proved that he is one of the fastest players in this league. He was exceptional. I'll go back to my original point. Braden Grima is also great. He's fast. Maybe not as fast as Katarin at times because that was insane. But having that vision, it's not just passing. I always mention players with good vision. He also knows when to be selfish, when to take the shot, like John Cooper. Someone's got to be selfish.
Yeah, that's right.
Someone's got to get it done. Exactly. Yeah. And he knows when to be the hero. He knows when to facilitate. Great IQ, just like my other pick in Ross, but just an offensive mind that we saw all season long. And like Landon Rolston and Kane Cloutier, there was times Grima was the best player on the Junior Canadians.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, even especially early in the season when the Canadians were just like, you know how we're going to win a game? We're just going to put Quadra, Grima, and Rico Champagne on the same line with O'Rourke and Ross back there and, like, just beat that.
Yeah,
You know?
how are you going to do that? we're going to put 5 of the top, I'll be generous, 15 players in this league together. Go ahead, try to stop it.
It's just, it's a bit unfair.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of trying to stop this, I'll try and stop us now. We could talk about this U16 GTHL AAA season forever, but it does have to end someday. It does have to end at one point. It will end right now. For the last time this season, this has been the Six Hockey. This has been Simon Hendricks. I'm Sammy Brzezowski. Have a great time.
Have a great time.
Have a great time.